All right, I'm going to open the meeting, 7:01. Appreciate everybody joining. Welcome back. First off, we have a new member. I just want to introduce Laurie. Laurie's right across from me here. If you can see Laurie, she'll wave and say hello. Laurie Wheeler. So we only had the one opening, and then Laurie was the candidate chosen. So we're glad to have her back. For those that don't know, just a little. You were on how many years? Like.
I think it was like eight or so.
Yeah, about 8 years before. Took a little sabbatical. Now you're back for more pain.
Back for more pain.
Yes.
More fun.
New faces. I love it.
Yep. So it's, yeah, some of the same faces, some of the old faces. So welcome and thank you for being interested in doing it.
Thanks. Nice to see everyone.
So again, we're doing a hybrid meeting. You're welcome to come to the meeting here. We'll see how this works. We normally are downstairs. Downstairs is not equipped for the meeting to be recorded yet. So that's why we're upstairs in the conference room near Steve's office. So I'll open it up for any public participation. Seeing none.
I see none, and we did not receive anything,
Nothing.
to my knowledge, at the
Okay.
time. So
Great. All right, there's approval of the minutes. The first set of minutes is not ready yet. I think those are still mine to be finished. April 20th, 2023. So I will do that before the next meeting. The next set of minutes was the June 29 minutes, which, so first of all, I'm just backing up a minute. So the Govenda is a website. Steve, what was how did that come about, if you would, or what?
it is very easy to provide information to the boards via Govenda, and you'll actually be able to go back through your account for all past meetings as well. So you can, instead of going through your emails and stuff, you go through your Govenda. You know, we use it for the town council, and they can go right through it and see, you know, a meeting from 6 months ago, a year ago, to kind of pull up something from it. Our retirement board uses it, and I think Dan would say they like it very much. Dan Sherman, Govenda?
Yes, love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really easier for us to get information to all of you and download it and what have you.
Yep.
So that's why we went there.
Okay, great. So just point of reference on that, I did speak to Sherry today. So now the website, you can now download stuff. I had at least one person ask me about trying to download some information so he or she could print it. You're able to do that now. When you go to the agenda, you can click on the item and that opens up the attachment, and then you have the choice to print it or download it. So that just happened like in the last 12 to 24 hours. I happen to print the stuff in case I have meeting minutes that need to be edited, so that's why I asked for it. So FYI on that. Looking at the June 29th, 2023 minutes, I'll entertain a motion.
So move approval of the June 29, 2023 minutes.
Second. Any discussion on the minute? Thank you. Seconded. Any comments on the minutes? And all those in favor of approval of the June 29, 2023 minutes, raise your hand and/or aye to be seen and heard.
Aye. Aye.
Unanimous. Next set of meeting minutes is October 5, the forecasting subcommittee minutes. That was held at 4 o'clock on one afternoon. You can see the people that were there. Entertain a motion about these minutes.
And that should be only people that were there.
Yes, I'm
I
sorry.
move
Thank
that
you.
we pass the forecasting subcommittee minutes.
I'll second.
So seconded by Dan. Any comments from the group that was at the meeting? All those in favor of the forecasting subcommittee minutes from 10/5/23?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Unanimous. And obviously, a lot of the forecasting information was in the tri-board presentation, which is the next set of minutes. I didn't make the meeting, but I heard Doug was a smashing success and soon to be a successor. So that's a good thing. Entertain a motion on the, so who's approving these minutes, Steve? All of us?
Yeah.
Like the boards,
Yep.
like the three boards?
3 boards, yep. Each have their own set.
Entertain a motion for the October 26, 2023 minutes for the tri-board meeting.
So move.
Several. Any second?
Second.
Second.
I'll second it too. Thank you. Any discussion on the meeting minutes for the tri-board?
Woke them up.
I know it was kind of a coup d'etat was going on, I thought, Doug.
You know, but I wasn't supposed to write them up, so thank you, whoever did it.
Oh, you were supposed to write them up, Doug?
I had no idea. No, I didn't. I assumed it was Chines or somebody.
Yeah, I think Steve probably wrote these up.
Actually, Sherry did them, I didn't do them.
Yep. All those in favor of the meeting minutes for the tri-board, 10/26/2023? Raise your hand.
Aye.
All right, unanimous, thank you. Any comments or feedback from the meeting? The meeting was all remote, Steve, right?
All remote, yep.
Yep, okay. I get the sense it was too long, that's what I heard.
That's the sense that I got. Or that was the sentiments given to me.
Yeah.
That's it.
Did Doug ever get the answer to the question he posed? There was one time where, Doug, you posed a question whether a formula had changed. I'm trying to stir my memory because what was presented by the schools didn't make sense. But I'll go back and I'll find it and maybe throw it out there.
I think the question and answer are still remaining to be.
Okay.
Did you hear him? I didn't hear it.
I think the question still remains.
Yeah. Okay. The next item then is the fiscal 2023 year in review, which is the book that was and is attached to the agenda if you're using the online system, if you happen to be in the room or you printed it. This is the book that'll be at the meeting tomorrow. And I don't know if it's Steve or Kevin that's going to give the review.
I will give it on Saturday morning.
Sorry, yep.
That's right, Saturday morning, 8 o'clock at the Galvin Middle School. We're back to the Galvin. We have 7 articles. This will be the first one. And this is a recap of last fiscal year, which actually turned out very, very good. Departments returned almost $2.5 million to the town. And we can talk about that if there's any questions. And
Excuse me, in the back, towards the back, you got the summary page on the returns by department, about the 3rd or 4th page from the rear, as well as articles and then reserve fund transfers. So you see the fiscal 23 summary towards the back. Go ahead, Steve, sorry.
And because of that, as well as revenues that came in more than we had anticipated, Commonwealth of Mass certified our free cash at $8,581,135. And we also encumbered about close to 1.3 million for work to be done that was funded in fiscal year 23. That'll be spent in fiscal year 24. The vast majority of that is in the Public Works Department, and those are just projects that we were waiting for items. We were waiting for our contracts weren't completed. We weren't billed completely by some of our vendors. Even one of our capital items, a pickup truck with a plow for $115,000 was delayed because of the UAW strike. So we're not going to not buy the truck. We're going to get it this fiscal year. So we kept the money for that. So I really think the department heads over the years have done a really good job of returning the money they can, and really did a great year. Once again, and this year we had a banner year in returns from group insurance for a couple of reasons. Number one, one of the reasons is that we actually had a higher number of deaths of insured that we have had in the past. And that also showed with a little bit of return in the retirement account too on the non-contrib side. That's a little bit more than I've seen before. But, basically we set the health insurance bill prior to open enrollment, prior to really knowing everybody we have because of our timing. And we do a great job of moving people from higher cost premiums to lower cost premium plans within the state GIC family. Our insurance department does a great job with that. And we also, a lot of our new hires, and this is something I'm kind of thinking about, Kevin and I are thinking about as we go forward, a lot of our new hires are under 26. So this is an actuarial blip that's going to hit us at some point when they get off their parents' plan and jump onto their own plans. So that's something that we're keeping our eyes on going forward. But, you know, we probably feel that usually about 85% of our employees will go on our health plans. And this year it was around 81, 82. So that coupled with, you know, deaths and moving people to lower plans was a great, gave us a great return on that account. I always say I can't count on this every year, but it seems like every year they prove me wrong over there and they return more. So it's really a good deal. Kevin, do you have anything to add to that? Because I know we work very closely on it. You're muted. You're muted, my friend.
No, that pretty much covers it all, Steve.
Thank you.
All right, there's another item, I don't know that it's where it is here. There was a lot of money that was made on interest earned or something, or on the.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's appropriate now, but
Yeah,
we talked about it more in the forecasting subcommittee meeting.
So, yeah, one of the good things about higher interest rates is we're getting more interest on our money that's in the bank. So that's, you know, we're going to pay for it on the bonding side, on the other side. But right now, I think, Ken, what did that go from? Like, we projected maybe 40,000 and it went to like
600.
600, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good. That helps out with all those, you know, whether it helps out with stabilization fund, it helps out with any money that we have, you know, on deposit in accounts that are approved, you know, they're conservative by the state. As Ed knows, we can't play the market, but it's nice to get a little bit more bang for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think you see this across the state. I mean, the interest income is going much higher than what's budgeted. So Steve, I thought was notable in the turnbacks was 423,847 in the school department. So that's a pretty.
Yeah, that was, I was pleased with that. I was pleased.
You know, we had a lot of discussion last year about the school department affairs.
I think they were listening to us, so I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, that was a lot of work behind the scenes, helped bring that along as well, and the effort by this board for sure.
I have it, yeah.
All right, you have more comments on it, Steve, or?
No, I think that's, you know, it's basically maybe, I was a very good year. I was very pleased with it.
Right. Excellent. Don?
So Steve, I had one question when I was reviewing this. In the health department, we had EMARC and the outpatient clinic. There were no expenditures in FY '23. Did we move that to purchase services, or I have trouble believing we didn't need mental health services in FY '23. And my question is, if there were no expenditures, did we budget for them in FY '24?
I think, Kevin, can you help me with that? Did that get
Yep.
dealt?
Yeah, yes, I can. You know, I talked with Anthony Chu, the department head over at the Board of Health, and they're doing actually a lot of that stuff in-house now. And Anthony didn't feel like they were getting the bang for their buck with what they were putting out for money on some of these items. So they're trying to work in other areas to cover the needs of the certain people that use those services. So either they're doing it in-house, or they're coming up with a plan that either they're not going to use earmark or the other health service that was provided there.
Well, they have more headcount in that department.
Yeah, too. So that's,
So they added
we
headcount.
added a social worker, so that helped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know if we carried forward those line items in '24, or did we reduce them?
I believe we did carry them forward, and Anthony was looking to see if the money could be spent in better areas to cover any other holes that he may have. So we did carry it forward and to see what he was going to do with it this year. Going forward into fiscal '25, we're going to have to come up with a plan with Anthony to see if those funds are needed, or if he can cover those services within his within his department right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin.
All right, any other comments on the summary? Steve, just in the enterprise funds, obviously that's work encumbered to be done.
Yes. In the enterprise funds, they are mainly,
Line replacements. So
yeah, it's in the water division, it's distribution services, pressure reducing valve calibrations, hydrant stock purchases, ongoing capital work unfinished before July 1st, water main replacements that were bumped into the next year, including Aborn and Vernon.
Paving White Circle.
Yeah, White Circle.
For the water main.
In the sewer division, it was, continued inflow and infiltration reduction and some discharge pump for the Farm Street pumping station.
I'm assuming that we had positive retained earnings.
Yes, in both funds we did. I think that is shown in there as well.
all right, anyone else? All right, so the result is we have a better looking forward than we had 4 months ago, right?
I would say so, yeah.
Last time maybe that we met. Excellent. All right, that moves us to the items for which we are here tonight, which have to do with articles that we as a board, as the committee, need to vote on, so.
Correct. So there are 5 articles that we would need Finance Committee's vote on. The first article, you don't vote on the town report, or you don't recommend anything on it. Article 2, which is the use of free cash to balance the budget. Now, when we had gone into our deliberations in the spring and in the early summer, we had thought that we would be using a lot more of this amount to balance the budget. But because we had some great new growth, particularly from the, portion of it was all of the construction that's going around. But the other part of it is we finally did get the money in from the power line. And that really helped boost our new growth up to almost 2.5 million. Not as good as Somerville, but we're trying. The other item that came to pass here is that because when we added up all our reserves, including and subtracting from that money that we will spend to balance the budget this year in Article 2 and on the 3 union contracts that we have, we actually exceeded our policy of having 10% worth of reserves. So we are actually, and this is in the memo to the board, we are actually looking to leave 2,067,000. Was that what it was?
So 281,000 or?
No, it was 267,037.
Yeah.
267,037 on the table. And that will go into our excess capacity. And so we're going to go about 2.38% instead of 2.5%. Interestingly enough, 9 out of the last 13 years we've done that. The last 3 years we have not. But from 2013 to 2020, we did leave, 324,000 to 2018, we left 600,000 on the table. So over the last 13 years, we have left 3.8 million in the hands of the taxpayer. Story that's not said enough. So
I forget, Steve, do we have the ability to claw that number back?
Anytime, baby. Every year you go back. Well, you go back and get it every year, right? You
Right, so we could raise taxes 3.8 million.
No. You can just go the full 2.5 the next year.
Oh, so we don't get to claw it back. We don't. It's
No,
not
I guess
like it's not a bank
Every year is a
reserve.
new year, I guess. I misunderstood your question. You used to be so conservative. What happened to you?
I know. Does he want to spend the money now? Jesus.
Oh, just wait until we start talking about the contract. You'll see my conservative side.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
That was a great deal. Anyway, that's where we are on that one.
It was collective vote.
Love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just, how is it, how's the dialogue at the town council?
Excellent. There was no no, they were all for it. Yeah.
So they're not,
This is their policy. They're going by their policy.
yeah, they would prefer to be under the 2.5. Okay.
They
Yeah,
would
set the new
prefer,
policy.
yeah,
That's right.
they would
Yeah.
prefer, we want to have 10% reserves for a lot of reasons, and
Right.
this set their policy.
In excess of the 10, you back down.
And in test of the 10, we backed down.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you. So, we want to vote on the article then for the balancing of the budget for the free cash,
Yes. Yep.
right? So with no Joe Bertrand, Doug, can you read the article number 2 for me? You able to do that? You have it in front of you?
Yeah. Article 2, use of free cash to balance the budget. The amount requested is $1,517,037. This amount reflects the $1,250,000 necessary to balance the budget, plus the addition of $267,037 that will be left on the table, air quotes, and in the hands of the taxpayers. Please see memo dated 10/23/23 to the town council for explanation.
I take that as a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ed.
That's all right. Any discussion on the motion before you for Article 2 for use of free cash to balance the budget as described? All those in favor, raise your hand and speak out. Aye.
Aye.
I see that's unanimous. Anybody a no?
Unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you. Article 3 is the contract for the fire department.
Okay, before, I'll take all the contracts with some general remarks, and then we can do each one. This was probably one of the more difficult negotiating periods that we had, not because of the unions, because even when we were far apart, they were very productive and professional meetings, but really because of the atmosphere that's out there and what's going on, you know, other communities and nationwide and what have you. I think that, you know, we started up again very far apart, and I came back we came in together to some items that I think are sustainable and can, and fair to both the departments, both police and fire and the town. In the fire department, which is Article 3, we would be looking for a total of $250,000. The COLAs on that are 2.5% per year. 1% added to the education incentive, 1.5% for the medical designations, and that is split every 6 months, 3/4.
Excuse me, so there is a memo from Steve
Right.
in the system that you can look at, giving you these same numbers, but go ahead, Steve.
Also, on the fire department, which is, overtime is always a big problem in the fire department. We've had that for years. We are we're putting more limits on personal days, on people that can take personal days every day of the year, people that can take personal days on holidays. So I'm very pleased with that. And I think that overall it's a good.
Can you explain that? I didn't get
So if you have a personal day, anybody can take a personal day, right?
Right.
So it used to be anybody can take a personal day. Your whole shift could technically take a personal day.
Yeah.
That's been cut in half. All right, so only 6 can. They usually don't. They're pretty good. And on holidays, only 2 can take personal on a holiday, because that's a day where a lot of people try to take them.
Is that a vacation day or are those
It's a
different?
personal day. Vacations are different. Vacations, you actually have to schedule.
Personal days do they get?
They get
2 or 3?
2, I think 2. Yeah. But they can add up. They all take it one day, then we get overtime for that day. So it's really, I'm very pleased with the contract, to tell you the truth, despite what.
How many years is it?
3 years.
no.
This is a 3-year. Despite what Mr. Butler will say, I think it's a good agreement for the town and for the unions, and I'm actually quite happy we got to that point.
Is the department fully staffed these days?
The department is fully staffed. There are a few people there's a couple of injuries right now.
Okay, I mean.
But they are fully staffed, yeah.
So the result is 4.5
Yeah,
In 24, 4.9 and 25, 5.0 and 26 total
on cash basis, I believe.
on cash basis.
I will say that I'm very hopeful that this is going to make a big difference this year. But I've said that before.
In the overtime?
In the overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Questions?
So I think, police and fire unions have the ability to push to impasse.
Right.
Take a contract through JLMC.
Yeah.
So anytime you can settle it right here in town without going that route, that's a big victory as far as I can.
Yeah. The other thing I want to point out on these, and I lost my train of thought because I'm getting old too, is that they do not have many steps. There's only 4. So you've been a firefighter for 4 years, you're maxed out. You could be up, you could become a lieutenant, you can become a captain. That's a different thing, but you're maxed out. It's not like they have a lot of steps and tracks going forward. So that's part of this. So you don't see those big, another 4% for getting a step on top of that you'll see in other unions, not on the town side.
Comments? Doug, is your hand up?
Not yet.
Okay.
So, Jim,
Yes.
this is Dan.
Dan?
So, what I've done is I've taken this contract, the fire contract, as well as the police, the 2 police, put them in my forecasting model. I adjusted the succeeding years, 25 and 26, according to the contract. And it did not make a real material difference in the long term. We'll still be running at about a 10% reserve. So this doesn't break the bank in terms of the forecast. But I'm holding my breath in terms of schools. But these 3 contracts are not going to bust us.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Great. Thank you for the update.
If I can make one more point. The unions know police, fire, DPW, clerical supervisors in town, is that I hold the COLA, the same cost of living increase for all of them. So in a sense, I've locked in 2.5% for not only this fiscal year that we're in now, but for the next 2 fiscal years and the next 2 contracts. And I'm kind of happy about that because that's not a bad deal.
Right. Any other comments? Doug looks like he has his hand up.
Steve, help me understand I get the 4.5 in fiscal year 24 because not everybody will get the educational incentive and not everybody will get the increase in EMT incentive. But I'm not sure I understand why it jumps to automatically to almost the 5% level.
Well, because when you take that split on the 3 quarters, okay, so it's like 1.5, and then you add 0.75 and 0.75 every 6 months. When you're adding the 0.75 on the 0.75, it actually gives you a little bit more at the end of that fiscal year. So it bumps it up a little bit. The cash is lower, but it's creating a higher amount on the next year.
I think the fear that I always have with these is we always come in with these things where we think it's going to be 2.5 and there's only going to, so the 1% increase in each educational incentive per year, is that so for them getting a bachelor's in fire science and then a master's and then a PhD.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
doctorate.
Actually, it's associate, bachelor, master's. There's nothing for a PhD.
Okay. So the max get is a 4% there.
Excuse me?
I'm confused.
Over the next 3 years, it's 3%. 1% each year for each one.
Okay. Oh, for just the incentive number. I got you.
Exactly.
All right. No, I mean that, the question is, Dan, what does this change the overall fire budget? Like personnel's not all of it. So does it move it to 4?
2.5.
Well,
250,000.
Yeah, it's like 4.5 in 1 year. It's like 4.3 another year. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but
yeah, but it's not. Personnel's a big chunk of it. But
Right. That's on the personnel side, which is a big chunk.
yeah.
So it's the overall one is less.
Right. I separate personnel inflation versus the expenses. So it drops it down a bit because the expenses, I don't have it going up that fast.
I mean, are any of them now not EMTs?
There might be a couple.
I mean, I think that's the big question is like when you think of it as a 2.5, but it's really a 4.5 because everybody's got some sort of degree and everybody's an EMT.
Yeah.
So I guess, and then future, the question is like, do we think we'll be able to get, because you were doing what, 1.5 before for COLA?
No, it's been 2.5 for a while.
Okay.
We had a couple of 1.5s in the very bad
Oh, and we
years.
just
I had
didn't
I had
boost.
a 0. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I feel like we didn't, that we've gotten about 4% increases in the personnel spending on that side of it for the past number of years. And now we're giving them a much higher number than they've got, not a much, but like a 2% higher number. I'm concerned that that the 4.5, 4, 9, and 5 is really 6, 7, and 7. And that's, I guess, where I'm concerned.
Yeah. It's not.
Okay. We'll see.
Okay.
Any comments on the fire side additionally? Next. So is this an individual vote? It is, right?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Okay. So can I entertain a motion on Article 3 for the fire union contract, please?
Yeah, do I read the article or do I just?
No, I
read-
think the motion should be to recommend the expenditure of $250,000 of free cash for the fire department contract.
That sounds good. What Dan?
So move.
So
what Steve
moved.
said, so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion that we already conducted for the fire department? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Any opposed?
Unanimously, anybody opposed? I didn't hear anyone. Unanimous. Okay. Thank you. Next item is the police department.
Police. Yep. The police has 2 unions. So although I think in my memo, I talk about it being $275,000 for police, it's the same budget, but the superior officers are one union, which is your sergeants and lieutenants, and your patrol personnel is one union. And for the police, the same COLAs as the fire, 2.5% each year. This is also a 3-year deal going back to July 1st, 2023. There is a 1.5% accreditation / training / post increased. You may recall that we have an accredited police department. If they lose that accreditation, they lose that. This is really one of the few merit-based items we have in contracts. And not only does the accreditation help us making sure we have great standard operating procedures, which we do, but it also helps us in suits. If we have a lawsuit, against us, we're doing best practices. And effective 7/1/23, a 1% mental health component, which not only will have our police department all trained in mental health, but I'm also, part of this is having them yearly go for a mental health evaluation, the officers themselves. I am very concerned about the atmosphere out there. I'm very concerned what they see. They are the first portal out there, and they de-escalate so many situations that is unbelievable what they see and what they do. And they are, for my money, or for our money, the best police force around here, and top to bottom. And I talked to a lot of other town managers around who have serious problems within their staff. We do not have them because we have great new personnel coming up to our sergeants and our lieutenants, right up to our chief. And actually, this in the fire department, I see a great succession planning in both. So I'm very pleased. We are splitting the 1% mental health component to help with the cash a little bit. I will tell you, I know we're being recorded, they can watch it. We started miles apart, this particular group. I mean, way apart. And we worked together and came back in. And again, always very congenial, always very professional. Really a good deal for us. So I'm again happy.
Is the 1% something they brought forward in their?
They brought up a lot of things, but this was something that we settled on.
Okay, and is this other towns also?
We have been way ahead in the whole mental health aspect on policing, that this may be a little bit further. This is actually one thing that the chief really wanted, because he's very concerned with.
And is already prescribed training available?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We have, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of our guys are doing it. Everyone do it. And this is one group, and the whole host academy issue was really bothersome to them. And that's the, imagine if you had a bad review at work, okay? You got written up for something, whatever. We all probably have in our past, right? Working. And that has to be sent to the state, all right? And it could have been for anything, any disciplinary action. And that follows you forever. It's on a public website that you can see so-and-so was disciplined for X. I mean, it's awful.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy, and I'm happy that we're not at the jail MC.
I think that's a very novel proposal, actually. I think that's fantastic. Steve, how about body cams? Same language?
They're already on.
They're already on?
Already on body cameras.
And they got additional.
They got additional.
They got a bump.
We didn't bump that at all, but they did get it for that.
They got a bump.
I maintain that helps them.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But they did get a bump.
Yeah, they did get a bump for that. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. But no increase in that bump, which is, I'd say. So this is two votes. One union is 185,000 and the other one is 90,000, but it's the full 275 total.
So it's 185 and 90 and that.
And 90, yeah.
So the motion is then for Article number 4.
Would be 185 of free cash.
Is there a motion as described? So moved?
Second.
Second by Ed.
Can I ask a question, Steve, before we go ahead with this?
And now I'll open it up for discussion.
Okay, sorry, that. There you go. I didn't realize we were batting out of order. That's my problem. That's, why,
Go ahead.
I need
Go
a
ahead,
few
sir.
more years in the minors. What is so you sort of danced around and talked about this mental health thing. Are they getting a check? Like if they make $100,000, let's just say, are they getting $1,000 for being sort of mental health? Are they getting $1,000 in cash, or is it $1,000 to put towards?
No, it's on the salary. It's on their salary.
Okay,
The salary increase.
They're getting a salary increase of $1,000 for mental health. Like, help me understand.
But both specialized training, and I'm adding the requirement that they also get specialized training in dealing with the public, and adding the fact that I also want them to go in once a year and
Be evaluated.
evaluated for themselves, because I'm concerned.
So how does it get paid? As a bonus or just?
No, it's
Walk me through the mechanics of this, Steve. That's what I'm
it's like,
struggling.
it's like the education incentive. It's a percentage on your salary.
They're going to do it because they're doing it. The total percentage is 5% each year. That includes that 1%. Split in two pieces, but it's.
Yeah, it's
Right.
yeah.
So if they
5%.
don't do it, they don't get the 1%. If they don't become, I'm just,
Right.
if they don't go to
But they don't-
training.
Yeah,
They have to do
They
it.
have
It's
to.
part of the contract now.
yeah.
Obligated.
Required.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Just required to get the evaluation, not that required to report anything back to the employer, right?
Excuse me?
They're not required to report anything with respect to.
No.
They're required to get training.
Yeah.
They're required to be evaluated once a year. That's how I understand it.
Okay. All right, that makes sense.
Right.
Doug, all right for now?
Yeah, I still, sure. I mean, I guess if it's part of the contract, then why don't we just say that it's, all right, fine. I mean, I just feel like it's being like, not disingenuous, but it's just an extra percent. And
Correct.
something
It's an
part of
extra
the quid
expense.
pro quo was like, oh, we'll make you do some mental health training.
You got it.
All
Give
right,
it,
that's
give and
fine.
take.
Yeah.
Don?
Yeah, so just to follow up on that. So are there like accredited police officer mental health training programs that they would participate in, or do they go to community college and take a mental
No,
health?
no, no, no,
course,
no.
or-
This would be in-house training we would do. This is stuff we did with, we bought this in years ago and continue on it. We'll bring in specialists. The first community really that did it was Framingham many years ago. It's called Counselor and Training Program, and we'll bring social workers and what have you to help them to deal and de-escalate issues that they see in the field. But it's not going to college or getting a degree or certificate or
Oh, it's
anything like that.
in-service training. that they have
In-service
to do.
training, yeah. Right.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
I have a follow-up question if nobody has a question.
Sure.
So around this whole thing, then what's the cost of, the cost of all the people going to see the mental health professional and the cost of this training? Is that embedded in this 275, or it just feels like
Yeah,
that's
that
a
would,
new?
yeah, that would already be in the contract, already be in the budget for the training. For their own evaluations, I would use our employee assistance program, which is through our health insurer, and there's no cost for that.
Oh, okay.
So that would result like in a day out of work for which the shift has to be backfilled.
No, I'm going to make them do it on their time.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not resulting in
No.
backfilling?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Remember, it's recorded, Steve.
I know, I don't care.
There you go.
Surprised Doug didn't ask that question.
It was much more colorful, Doug, before it was recorded. Okay, the motion before you then. All those in favor of basically Article 4 and 5, 185,000 and 90,000 as described?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Unanimous.
Article 5 is 90,000. It's the same, all the parameters are the same. They bargain together, but they have two separate unions.
So the motion then is for Article 5 for the supervisor's contract in the amount of $90,000.
90,000 of free cash.
Free cash. Second.
Second.
Discussion on Article 5 for the supervisor's officers. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Hi, Joe, welcome.
Thank you.
Article 6.
Okay, Article 6, our last item for this evening is that the town increases some exemptions that we have, taxpayers who are granted personal exemptions for the domiciles under General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5. This would double exemptions for surviving spouse, going from 175 to 350. For a senior exemption, going from 1,000 to 2,000. Disabled veteran, 22-A through F, 400 to 800. A veteran paraplegic, 1,500 to 3,000. Veterans 100% disabled, 1,000 to 2,000. And blind, 500 to 1,000. This, at this time, is not being reimbursed by the state, although I would not be surprised if the state increased these exemptions over the next few years. So this would be handled out of our overlay account.
These are real estate exemptions,
These are real estate tax exemptions. So really, our thought process is we're doing everything we can to help our seniors age in place. And I always thought it was strange that a surviving spouse got $175. That's like nothing today on their taxes. So Victor and I have been talking about this. He feels that we can handle this within our current overlay account. If we can't, then we might have to increase that over at our next couple budget rounds. But I think that has been at 600,000 since I can remember. So that maybe should have gone up anyway. So again, this is purely what this is to help out some of our people that need a little bit help on their taxes. And I don't think Victor will present this at town meeting, and we feel very good and strong about this one. So that's it.
So the article then, what are we going to be voting on?
I think it's just favorable action because there's no dollar amount. There's no tax levy dollar amount to it
Okay.
at this point.
Can I get a motion for Article 6 for the exemptions as described?
So move.
Second? Any discussion on the exemptions for real estate tax as described in Article 6?
Is that Dennis Hogan seconded, I think?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure. All those, no discussion, all those in favor?
I think Doug.
I've got
sorry.
discussion.
There's a record button up in the corner. I'm sorry, it's hard to see
Yeah.
the hand. In defense,
Or
It's
it's
over
me.
here.
It's
in
Doug.
defense of me going by you.
You moved.
Go ahead,
Hey,
Doug.
ballpark. So the senior exemption going from 1,000 to 2,000. Like seniors are like our richest cohort of people in town, who have benefited tremendously from the growth in the value of their properties over this time frame. I am pretty opposed to, like, how big is this number going to be that we're giving away to this surviving spouse, whatever. It's the senior exemption doubling that I feel like is, well, it doesn't matter because I think it's pandering, but I also think that it's probably not a fair redistribution of, our town money.
Yeah, I think it was it 31 cents? It was in the paper last night, and I know Steve has it somewhere. The cost, the additional.
No, that wasn't this.
Okay.
No.
Is it every senior or is it just seniors below a certain income threshold?
It's income, there's income thresholds on
There's
that.
income thresholds.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll say last year, so let's see, last year, we gave exemptions of 113,000 to seniors, okay? That was reimbursed by the state. So if we're going to say
You would
that
make it 225.
if that doubles, right? So
Yeah.
then we would eat up overlay of 113,000, based on that number last year.
So of the exemptions, how much of it went to seniors? Of the how much was the
That's
overall
what it is.
exemption?
That was on our cherry sheet from the elderly, 113.
That's the senior exemption.
698. Yeah.
That's the senior exemption,
Yeah.
but I'm like all those other ones that we swept into the feel goods part of the story.
Veterans was 40,000 or so, 39,877. I'm trying to find the blind one and I don't see it in here.
No pun intended.
Yeah, I know. I didn't mean it that way. Do you know, Kevin, on the blind off the top of your head?
I mean, I know it's not a winning article for me, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty opposed to doing I don't love senior exemptions, obviously.
Again, there's-
Not yet.
There's income threshold.
Yeah.
Correct?
I'm not sure about that. This is 65C, right? So there must be, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, well, yeah, because think about it. We've got a lot
Yeah,
more than
it's gotta be,
113
yeah.
seniors that would collect.
Yeah,
Right.
and I
Let me
think
find that for you.
if I recall what I read in the paper, there were like 300 that applied and 220 or so were.
That's a separate issue, though. That's not this. That's something separate.
Is the other issue, in past years, in my prior time, wasn't there the capability for seniors to work off?
That's still here.
So that's still here.
That's still here,
So that's
yeah.
another component.
That's another component, yeah.
So Doug, does the fact that there are income strictures here, does that harshen or lighten your opposition?
Oh, no, the fact that there are income thresholds does lighten my objection to it, but still it feels like I mean, I feel like there's a lot of lip service being paid to keeping seniors in place, and I don't think it's a real issue. But
Right, I mean, if you're under I would just say, if you're under the threshold, it's
It can't relate.
likely a real issue. I
We
would,
can't relate.
yeah, I would agree with you if somebody has a home that's worth 5 times what it used to be, and they're living off of home equity lines, they're not, they may or may not be eligible, Doug, but it's almost, having equity in the home is what? It doesn't mean anything till you use it.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean anything till you make use of it, right? You go get it or sell, but the threshold, the income threshold is the key, in my opinion.
okay. No, there's definitely an argument to be made. I mean, it's not. I'm not it's not a hill I die on, but it's just help me understand.
Yep. Ed?
I'm looking long-term here also, the impact on elderly property tax payers down the line when we build a new high school. It's gonna be-
Yeah, that's kind of why we did this.
I think that's a very good reason, supportive reason to do this.
Any other comments?
Just for a little bit of clarity, so you're saying that there's the first component that's unmatched is reimbursed by the state, but this is us increasing it.
This is us increasing.
Us doubling it, but we're
Right.
not going to get a reimbursement.
Not for the
This is
extra,
what we're
right.
deciding to do as a town
Right,
for the
exactly.
seniors. Okay.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yes.
It's taken off the overlay, basically.
Right.
On the overlays.
Hasn't
What
the
do we have?
state, hasn't there been proposals, Steve, at the state?
There's been talk about it, but nothing passed.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think there's a whole new Veterans Hero Act coming through that may touch some of this, but it hasn't gone through yet.
Was that the overlay? We had $600,000 left over last year. Is that the same?
Yes, that was the one that we pulled, the
Right.
past overlay out of.
Right? Yeah, okay. Any other discussion on this? All right, so, did we make a motion? No.
No. No, I do. It's, I think that Bill Boudry did, and then Dennis Hogan
sorry.
seconded.
Okay,
it.
great.
Sorry.
Discussion, yeah.
So all those in favor of Article 6, this is, we'll be recommending favorable action.
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed?
Aye.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I got no problems voting no.
What do you say?
I said no.
You are opposed?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. That's the end of the articles, correct? Steve?
That's it.
All right, committee comments, anyone? Very good. My only two comments, town meeting is Saturday, 8 o'clock, this Saturday. We'll be there with bells on. If you can make it, join us. It is probably going to be riveting and not last very long. There is an article at the end that may take up some time, but the only other comment would be I sent out subcommittees last night. They didn't change as much as I thought they might change for a number of reasons. I wrestled with a bunch of different things. Anyway, there's some changes to the subcommittees. Take a look at it. Those will obviously get underway probably right after the first of the year, more than anything, Steve, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Not much before that.
I don't think so.
And really, the only other thing was the school group did meet with the school department a month ago, maybe. And we are going to get some Excel spreadsheets from the school that get embedded in the book. Be working with Christine to get sort of last year's sample is what we asked for. And we're also asking to kind of change up how we review their how we review their budget to have some more one-on-one time with the budget as it starts to get built in draft form. The current format that we meet with them when they're doing their finance and facilities subcommittee, I've observed over the last couple of years and then obviously witnessed at the main meeting. I don't think the subcommittee comes as prepared as it could be. So we're asking them to change how they meet with us and what they talk about when they meet with us. So that hopefully will give us some additional benefit. We'll see what happens. But they were I mean, in the end, they were receptive, I guess, is how I would describe it. But
Is there a reason we snuck Article 7 into this meeting versus the May one? Or the June one, or whatever?
what, the energy code?
Yeah. I mean,
Under our charter, any appointed committee can come forward with a warrant article, and they chose to do it.
all right.
Any, Dawn, you have your hand up.
Yeah, so I guess I just have kind of a procedural thing. You know, Steve sent the memo on the tax levy, and it's kind of an inform to us. I guess my question procedurally is this something that should actually come to the finance committee at some point before it goes to the town council, or, you know, is it? I would think it has a finance impact. It's certainly, you know, something that I'm wondering if the finance committee should have an opportunity to review before decisions get made.
You mean on the free use of free cash?
On the tax levy being less than 2.5, I think,
On
correct?
the tax levy being less than 2.5 and the final, yeah.
Well, we need to use the free cash to set the tax rate. And that is, that setting of the tax rate or the shift really is done by the town council. So I guess you could recommend no, which would throw us into a tailspin. I'm trying to think, when did I send this memo out to you guys? I think it was before the town meeting. It was before
Monday night.
before Monday night, so I guess.
Yeah.
It was sent to the town council on the 23rd, but it was, it's to the town council, so there's nothing to the finance committee. So I'm just trying to decide if it's, if that's in our lane or out of our lane, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly out of our lane, or has been, and the two things I would mention to that is you have this, the new policy that was just approved that is sort of a mechanism to do what they're doing. And I do view us as a committee appointed and advisory, oversight, and informational. We don't really make those kinds of decisions. So I view the tax levy and what we receive is what we work with based on decisions made by the administration and town council. So that's sort of how I view it, and I could be completely wrong, but that's how I view our subcommittee. We work with what we have. Now to your point, if we're upside down and we're not getting 2.5, for example, Don, well, that would be a real problem, right? If things were, and you had a town council that was rogue, or an administration that was rogue, you raise a great point. But I've never viewed our board as having much teeth, so to speak.
This exactly follows their policy.
Jim?
Yeah. Dan.
One thing about finance committee is under the charter, we are advisors to town meeting.
Right.
And if this went to town meeting for discussion, then we would be involved. But I think this would be out of our lane because we are the advisors to town meeting.
Okay. That's an important distinction. I appreciate that, Dan.
Yeah.
I've just trying to, basically understand.
Yeah, no, it's a valid point, right? Because it's finance related.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if I said this or somebody else did. I kind of view us as being like a ways and means committee for the full town body. We look at things, we give the town body advice that they don't otherwise, have come before them. And I don't think I coined that, but somebody else said it before, and I thought it was pretty appropriate to how we kind of operate for the body, as Dan said. So.
Yep. Okay.
Anything else?
Move to adjourn?
Move to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, off to a good start, people. Welcome all back. Thank you.